Amazon rainforest, also known as the lungs of the earth, is one of the most important ecosystems on our planet. So this dense jungle, which covers more than 5 million square kilometers in South America, serves as the foundation of global environmental health. It generates roughly 20% of the world's oxygen and serves as a massive carbon sink, absorbing a significant portion of the planet's carbon dioxide. So aside from its ecological function, the Amazon has unparalleled biodiversity, hosting an estimated 10% of all known species. So the rainforest is a thriving sanctuary, with leopards prowling through the undergrowth and vibrant eagles soaring above the canopy. But the Amazon's significance goes far beyond its wildlife and plants. It is essential to maintaining water cycles, controlling global weather patterns, and affecting climate well beyond its boundaries. Despite the Amazon's invaluable contributions, there are serious threats to its ecological integrity and worldwide significance. So, deforestation has accelerated due to the human activity and the pressures of globalizations. The rainforest is being rapidly destroyed by large-scale logging for financial gain, agricultural expansion, and infrastructure development. So the destruction of millions of hectares annually brings the Amazon closer to a tipping point where its ecosystem may irreversibly collapse because of the extensive habitat fragmentation caused by this deforestation. So species are in danger of going extinct. Furthermore, the rainforest's ability to absorb carbon is diminished when there is less tree cover, an alarming feedback loop that worsens global warming and poses significant problems for the region and the planets is the Amazon's current emissions of more carbon dioxide than it produces of oxygen. Climate change contributes to these problems by changing rainfall patterns, making droughts more severe, and putting more stress on the resilience of rainforests. So the Amazon's ecosystems and the larger environmental balance it maintains are both at risk from these interrelated threats. And at this crucial moment in human history, the Amazon situation serves as a sobering reminder of how interconnected all life is on Earth and emphasizes the urgent need for sustainable practices to preserve this priceless gem. So Brazil is important to the preservation and sustainable management of the Amazon rainforest since it owns the greatest recipe of it. So Brazil's environmental policies have historically alternated between programs aimed at conservation and commercial use of the Amazon. By gaining foreign investment for sustainable development initiatives like the 2008 created Amazon Fund showed Brazil's commitment to fight deforestation and preserve biodiversity, but these policies have frequently been impacted by political changes. So recent administrations have come under fire for putting economic needs like mining, soy farming, and cattle ranching ahead of environmental conservation. So, as an impact, rates of this deforestation have gone up, and environmental rules are now less strictly enforced. So, Brazil's responsibility as an Amazon steward striking a balance between its own economic development and international environmental standards is still a controversial topic. And apart from that, several nations like Bolivia, Colombia, Peru, and part of the Amazon rainforest and their activities have a big influence on conservation initiatives. For example, Colombia and Peru have frequently, with assistance from abroad, put in place initiatives to reduce extreme logging and promote sustainable land use. However, because of the big need for resources and large, difficult to monitor areas, so enforcement continues to be difficult. Bolivia, however, has come under fire for policies that encourage for the growth of agriculture, which has resulted in deforestation. So together, these national policies impact the Amazon's health and its capacity to fight biodiversity loss and deforestation. Last but not least, the Amazon Cooperation Treaty Organizations or ACTO and other regional cooperation programs seek to bring these countries together to address transboundary environmental challenges. Despite this initiative, coordinated action is frequently hampered by competing national interests. So some nations integrate their policies with international environmental goals by placing a high priority on conservation and climate resilience. So some are motivated by the short-term financial gains from using the rainforest resources, which leads to a disjointed strategy for preserving the Amazon's future. So to prevent this important ecosystem, regional cooperation must be strengthened and equitable resources management must be ensured.
Next, I will be presenting on the role of global powers and NGOs in Amazon conservation. First, global powers like the US, the European Union, and China significantly influence Amazon conservation. Their policies and practices can either protect the rainforest or contribute to its destruction. For example, the European Union enforces strict regulations on imports linked to deforestation, urging sustainable agricultural and forestry practices. Its Amazon Plus program further emphasizes carbon dioxide reduction and biodiversity protection, often partnering with local communities and indigenous peoples. Similarly, the US supports the Amazon Fund, a vital initiative financing rainforest conservation to preserve biodiversity and combat climate change. On the other hand, China's demand for resources like soybeans and timber has fueled deforestation. But their Belt and Road Initiative, China also explores potential green investments in Amazon conservation. Next, international NGOs have been instrumental in driving sustainability and protecting indigenous rights. Organizations like Greenpeace and the World Wildlife Fund led reforestation projects and campaigns to combat deforestation. Greenpeace's campaign, Protect the Amazon, for instance, aims to hold corporations accountable for their supply chain. Meanwhile, the WWF's Living Amazon report underscores the importance of safeguarding 80% of the rainforest by 2025. Human rights organizations such as Survival International focus on indigenous rights and environmental justice. Recent political shifts in Brazil, like establishing the Ministry of Indigenous Peoples, further highlight efforts to tackle environmental concerns and uphold indigenous rights. So, to sum up, the collective actions of global powers and NGOs are important for Amazon's future. Collaboration across these sectors offers hope for preserving this irreplaceable rainforest. That's all from my part. Thank you.
Next is about ecosystem changes. Ecosystem changes, deforestation, and climate change are severely affecting its ecosystem, resulting in significant geographic and geopolitical repercussions in Latin America. Impact of deforestation on biodiversity, such as the Amazon, is the home to many species. As a result of habitat loss through human activity of deforestation, converting forests to agricultural land further reduces the diversity and number of flora and fauna. Then, loss of habitat. Clearing of forests for agriculture or infrastructure development significantly reduces exciting habitat for countless species. The reduction of this habitat not only threatens the survival of this species, but also disturbs the delicate balance of the ecosystem. When forests are converted into farmland or urban areas, many animals escape from their original habitats in search for new habitats. Then, climate change implications such as deforestation causes a reduction in the Amazon's ability to absorb carbon dioxide, weakening its function as a carbon sink. This further increases global warming temperatures as less carbon dioxide is captured and more accumulates in the atmosphere. Furthermore, the removal of forest cover can disrupt local and regional climate patterns, potentially resulting in higher temperatures and changes in precipitation. Next is impact on global climate. The Amazon rainforest plays an important role in maintaining global climate stability by absorbing around 2 billion metric tons of carbon dioxide each year. This significant absorption of carbon helps in reduction in the impact on climate change. However, continued and widespread deforestation will reduce this capacity and lead to an increase in atmospheric carbon dioxide level. My next point is policy implications such as reforestation and conservation programs. This policy is very important to promote reforestation and forest conservation to restore the Amazon's carbon absorption capacity and stabilize the climate in the region. By actively engaging in reforestation efforts, this policy can help reverse the negative effects of deforestation, allowing forests to regain their ability to absorb large amounts of carbon dioxide. And then, international collaboration and it's important for addressing climate change and promoting sustainable development in Latin America. Multinational initiatives such as the Amazon Fund are essential to promote sustainable development and prevent deforestation. These efforts emphasize the importance of cooperation between countries by combining the resources and expertise of countries to deal with the issues of deforestation and effective environmental protection. Now, I will pass to the next presenter.
Hi, my name is NURUL BINTI ISMAIL. I will continue the presentation by explaining migration pattern. Amazonian deforestation has triggered two types of migration, internal and cross-border. Internally, indigenous and rural communities whose livelihood depend on the forest are forced to migrate to cities like Manus and Belem due to land degradation and soil infertility. However, these cities are not equipped to handle the influx, leading to informal settlement, poor living conditions, and pressure on public service. This migration also results in the erosion of cultural identities, as traditional practice and language are lost. Cross-border migration affects countries like Peru, Colombia, and Venezuela. Migrants compete with local population for limited resource, increasing socio-economic tension. Environmental refugees replaced by deforestation are often marginalized due to lack of recognition in international migration framework. This intensifies resource competition at borders, threatening regional stabilities. In conclusion, addressing this challenge requires shared accountability among nations and better international framework to protect environmental migrants.
Hello, I'll be discussing the geopolitical implications of the Amazon, focusing on two key areas: resource control and conflicts, and regional cooperation. The Amazon, often referred to as the lungs of the earth, is not only vital for the planet's health but also a hotspot of geopolitical and environmental tensions. Let's dive into these issues. First is the resource control and conflicts. The Amazon is rich in resources such as timber, oil, and minerals, which attract global interest. This abundance, however, comes with significant geopolitical challenges, that is, competition for resources. Nations like Brazil, Peru, and Colombia aim to leverage this resource for economic growth. Meanwhile, international corporations driven by profit motives often compete for access. This competition frequently sparks disputes between national governments and private entities, raising issues of sovereignty and resource management. Second is the border and territorial disputes. Resource-rich regions within the Amazon often become hotspots for border disputes, straining diplomatic relations and hindering regional stability. Third is impact on indigenous communities. Indigenous groups who rely on the Amazon for their livelihood strongly oppose activities like logging, mining, and oil extraction. These activities not only threaten their territories but also cause environmental damage, triggering protests and social unrest. Last is about the environmental concerns and crime. Resource exploitation poses risks to the Amazon's role in global climate regulation. Activities such as illegal logging and mining exacerbate corruption and crime, further destabilizing the region. In summary, the demand for Amazonian resources creates a complex web of conflicts among countries, corporations, and local communities. Addressing these tensions requires regional cooperation, sustainable policy, and global support. Second is about the regional cooperation. Regional cooperation is crucial for addressing these challenges and protecting the Amazon's future. The Amazon Cooperation Treaty Organization (ACTA) provides a framework for collaboration among Amazonian countries. Let's explore this further. First is about the joint efforts and progress. Countries are sharing research, technology, and strategies to combat deforestation and preserve biodiversity. Successful initiatives include monitoring illegal logging and creating conservation zones, fostering a sense of unity among Amazonian nations. Second is the challenges to cooperation. There are three challenges to cooperation. First is about defining priorities. While some governments prioritize economic growth, others emphasize conservation. Second challenge is about conflicting interests. Debates over infrastructure projects like roads and dams illustrate the tensions between development and environmental protection. Last of the challenges is about weak enforcement. Corruption, limited resources, and lack of political commitment undermine the implementation of regional agreements. Third of the regional cooperation is about the global influence. International organizations and NGOs often advocate for conservation, but their involvement can sometimes lead to tensions over perceived interference in national sovereignty. Despite these challenges, growing global attention to climate change has strengthened calls for regional unity. Amazonian countries increasingly recognize the need for sustainable practice and stronger agreements, coupled with international support, can enhance conservation efforts. The Amazon's geopolitical implications underscore the delicate balance between resource exploitation, environmental preservation, and regional cooperation. While challenges such as conflicts, weak enforcement, and differing priorities persist, there is hope. Through commitment, innovation, and collective action, Amazonian countries can navigate these complexities and safeguard one of the world's most vital ecosystems. Thank you for listening.
In conclusion, the Amazon, also referred to as the lungs of the earth, is a vital ecological asset with immense biodiversity. However, the region
face mounting threats from deforestation, resource extraction, and climate change. So, in this case, regional power, particularly the Amazonian countries such as Brazil, Colombia, and Peru, need to balance economic development with conservation. Meanwhile, global powers such as USA and China need to influence conservation through trade, funding, and policies. The consequences of deforestation extend beyond environmental degradation, which affecting migration patterns and geopolitical stability. For example, the displacement of indigenous and rural community has led to rapid urbanization, which straining public resources and infrastructure. Ultimately, safeguarding the Amazon requires a collective effort from government and civil society. Strengthening conservation policies, enforcing stricter regulations on deforestation, and integrating indigenous knowledge into environmental governance are crucial steps toward sustainable management.